We're back after a few days off with some concerning news from Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. The best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by our great partners at FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, we did have 3 episodes published last week. We're back at it this week. Full weeks coming up really through up until that Christmas week, about 3 weeks from now. But otherwise, we'll have full 5-episode weeks. Sam, how was the rest of your Thanksgiving holiday? And you know, things are about to pick up in baseball, I think.
Yeah, it was a fine week off, but I kind of missed this a little bit. You know, just a couple of days off feels like I haven't talked about this exciting group of teams and players in a long time, and you know, I'm glad to be back. It's 1:45. We're recording this. It's pitch black out. No, it's about 10 to 5.
No, we're in that 3-week stretch now until the days get longer on the 22nd, where it's going to be pitch black at 5.
You know, before we talk about this Rosenthal report, and really with all due honesty, guys, outside of the college realm, just a lot of negativity in the sporting world if you're a Chicago fan. So before we go down that street, I just got to say, what an amazing roll call from our last episode last week. Those comments, I mean, people watching from Manila, Philippines, you know,
it was amazing.
I mean, that's Ali Frazier, brother. You know, Tokyo, Japan. I mean, it was really awesome to get that response. It felt really cool. So thanks to everybody out there. And unfortunately, we have to start your Monday with this report.
On his show Fair Territory, MLB insider Ken Rosenthal does a segment called Dude and Dork of the Week. And without getting into all the details of his show and his segments, Rosenthal, I would say, Sam, is in that upper tier of reporter for baseball. He's very connected, very respected around the game. Yeah. In my mind, similar to Jeff Passan. Like, for me, it's Passan 1, Rosenthal 2.
Agree.
And last week, Rosenthal called out the Cubs as his dork of the week. This is directly related to this offseason. Take a listen to this.
I'm going to go with Cubs ownership. And the reason for that is all we're hearing out of Chicago, the north side, is we're not going to be involved in any of the big free agents. We're going to just kind of do some other things. They're trying to trade Cody Bellinger. I get that. But where are the Cubs? The Red Sox, after sleepwalking through the past few off seasons, have finally arisen and awakened, and they're acting like a big market team should. The Cubs, playing in a division that is eminently winnable. I'm sorry, Milwaukee's really good, but the Cubs can obviously be better than the Milwaukee Brewers. They have more resources than Milwaukee Brewers. They have the ability, if they spend some money, to become a special team. They're a little bit away. We all recognize that. They need more. More starting pitching, I would say more offense as well, and a better bullpen. All of this. But look at that division. Milwaukee, they're not going to spend. We know that. They never spend. Pittsburgh, they're Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, okay, they might be a little bit better. They're trying to do some things, but they're Cincinnati. And St. Louis is clearly taking a step back. So the Cubs have an opportunity here to maybe seize control of this division, and they are squandering it. Cubs ownership, dorks of the week.
Aren't you glad we're back, folks? Didn't you miss us?
This is the top story from the weekend.
You know, Matt, do you want to comment on that, or could I go right into it?
Go into it, because I have something a little bit on the longer side.
Okay.
because I want to review the idea of the Cubs squandering opportunity.
I just don't know what else, what else there is to say. It's almost like we're using these different outlets to try and prove to our wonderful listeners that, it's not just us being these grumpy, pessimistic guys. This is what it is. I've heard this in the industry, not just from Ken Rosenthal, but really since the day the Cubs came out publicly and said no thanks to the great Juan Soto. And, I've heard stuff like the Cubs are agents and executives around the league are befuddled. That's the word I've heard about what the Cubs are doing and their lack of activity. And so all we could do is just acknowledge that that's a very fair opinion from Ken Rosenthal. We have the same one. We have to hope that it's early in the offseason, because it is, and that things may change, or whatever this plan is, it works out. I want to just say one thing before I swing this over to you, and this is going to be kind of breaking news from me. So I'll say this now. We'll digest it, and maybe I do it for a solo show a different time. I was listening to the Northside Territory this weekend with Sahadev and Patrick Mooney. And
right, shout out to those guys.
Mooney hinted at something that I've been thinking for a while, because I've been saying to myself, what's the Cubs' plan? What are they trying to do here? And I just want to throw this out. I just want to let it marinate for a bit. Is there a chance that their plan is guys like Suzuki, Happ, Horner, whatever, are really kind of stopgap guys to just try and be competitive in the meantime? And their real long-term plan was, hey, let's get Shaw up here. Let's get Casey up here. Let's get Cade up here. All these things. Have that be hey, we're trying to build this next great Cubs team, but we know we can't do another rebuild. The fans will be too upset. So they're just trying to kind of have their cake and eat it too with, hey, maybe we'll be competitive with the Horners of the world and the Suzukis and the Happs of the world. But really the long-term plan is something different. Is that possible? I'll hang up and listen.
Well, gosh, I hope not.
Yeah, me too.
I'm getting on board more and more with the possibility of Shaw, especially, and or Casey, and or Ballesteros, not to mention maybe pitchers as well, that come up and they're good, or they're even great players. But we saw that right in the first run of the 15, 16, 17 Cubs and so on. But in this moment in time, after exiting that era, I do wonder, like, if Jed Hoyer was on this show, what is it playing out as he visualized?
Yeah.
Because you need to have both. You need to have internal studs, dudes that show up every day, that are those 4, 5-win guys, but leaving room or leaving the possibility for external additions. It's odd that in terms of reviewing this idea of the Cubs squandering opportunity, I think it's pretty set that the Cubs are going to add a quality starting pitcher, 2 quality relief pitchers, and a veteran catcher. Like, that's going to happen. They're also likely going to pick up a veteran middle infielder and or a veteran outfielder as 2 bench pieces right there. Okay. Yeah. Then you have the 2 big surprises on the table. Do they trade for a big bat and or sign Roki? But no matter what the hypotheticals are and how many we can actually entertain, how many tweets we read, I just know this for sure. Mm-hmm. The Cubs must take control of their offseason. Don't play by any other team's rules. Don't play by what we say. And despite a lot of the roster, especially position players already in place, I think Jed Hoyer does have a great opportunity here. But what is he actually going to do with it? And much of that opportunity, I get it, is in movement. And I don't want to connect activity with achievement, but I think he does have an opportunity. I don't agree with Rosenthal that it's been squandered, because it's December 1st as we record. But you know what? When we get to next Thursday or Friday, Sam, and everyone's leaving Dallas for the winter meetings,
But
that statement might not be as far-fetched.
what
Did
are
squander an opportunity? We're going to find out in the next 10 days.
when you take yourself out of the Juan Soto sweepstakes? What is it there for them to do, right? We know what they're going to do. They're going to add a starter, maybe trade for a pitcher, and get one kind of mid-level bat. So they're going to leave the division up to outperforming expectations once again. The splash to be made, the big move, the thing that they're missing was out there in free agency. I guess the only thing they could do is make a blockbuster sort of trade. Like what is it that they really can do? With the way the team is currently situated, unless they trade Bellinger.
Well, since we last did an episode, and I'm only basing this off what I'm reading, but I feel like trading Bellinger and even Horner is picking up steam. I would say Bellinger more likely than Horner, but I think once the Soto domino falls, and it would be great if he signed before the winter meetings, because then I think next week, not only for the Cubs, but all 30 teams might be a wild time. I do think there's going to be a market for Bellinger. But again, what is it about? What's the goal? Because there isn't going to be a team that takes 100% of his deal. The return is going to be mild. Maybe Horner has a more robust market, Mariners, Guardians, maybe the Braves. There is different paths to movement.
Mm-hmm.
But then what are the subsequent moves? Because I think the hard sell for me is definitely that right field spot. Like Shaw for Horner, I could see that without question. The tough one for me is leaving Seiya as the DH and just Casey goes to right. Bush is at first.
Yeah.
Paredes still at third.
Maybe there's a player that they're really targeting, in trade.
Right, via trade.
Yeah, that would solve that problem and bring a little bit more excitement to this.
Well, we can flesh this out if you want for another episode. But two MLB Network and MLB.com proposed blockbuster trades since we last recorded.
Sure, you can hit me with them.
Vlad and Gossman from the Blue Jays.
I saw that.
What's your position on that, especially Vlad as a rental?
What is it? So Vlad and Gossman to the Cubs for Bellinger, Bush, and Horton?
Yep, and then MLB.com threw in Jackson Wiggins.
Yeah, I don't.
What about Bellinger for Gossman? Hey, you save a few $1 million doing that too.
Yeah, fine. I mean, it doesn't get me running around.
No, because Gossman's an okay starter.
Yeah, but that's fine.
He's a good starter.
I don't see why
$23 million's a lot for him though.
I'm not sure why Toronto would do the original one.
Yeah, they're the Vlad and Gossman.
So I get that Guerrero's a rental, but they're a team that's saying they want to go after Juan Soto. So they're gonna be a team that wants to go after Juan Soto, but they're gonna swap. They're gonna get rid of Guerrero and take on Bellinger's contract. I just that didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, anything that involves bringing Vlad Guerrero over here is something that I'm in on, because I feel like he's the type of hitter we're missing in this lineup. If to me,
even if it's for just a year,
you got to extend him.
Okay.
You there's no reason, especially if you're able to dump Bellinger's salary, why can't you extend him? I don't understand that. You'll have to explain that to me at a different.
Well, I just think because his representation would want him to reach the open market.
Well, then hopefully they could bring him back.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's for 1 year and 1 year,
but if they got him, we would be dancing around. No.
Yes, do it like a tango.
Okay.
Or like a square dance or
whatever.
He's
a star player.
Absolutely. I don't. Why wouldn't Toronto wait till the deadline on that?
I think they will.
Yeah, I just,
That's what I would lean towards.
And because, and I'm not trying to be the Grinch when it comes to these trades. I just always, the first thing I do when I get a trade
Holiday
proposal,
reference.
the first thing I do when I get a trade proposal is I pretend I'm the other team because it's just the easiest way to do it. And if I'm the Blue Jays, I got a guy coming off of a season where, I'm going to pull up his numbers right now. I think he had like a 950. I mean, he was unbelievable.
No, it was crazy.
He had a 940 OPS. I guess the counterpoint would be you don't believe he's going to have a great start to the season next year. His value right now is at its absolute highest. But if I'm a Toronto Blue Jay fan and I'm sitting here going, we're trading Vlad Guerrero Jr. before the season, like, I'm out. See you guys. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and I do think. Oh, the other thing I wanted to ask you, Sam, I'm not even going to wait. Monday episodes tend to be very well listened, well watched.
Yeah.
The other thing that's bugged me about the Cubs
you seem a little bit more optimistic than you were before.
Yeah, I'm more optimistic today.
Did you have a lot of food?
I've ate a lot. Yeah. I've gained a few pounds. So
yeah, that's probably what it is.
You know what's bothering me?
I didn't.
The Juan Soto thing.
Why wouldn't it bother you?
And I get the Bellinger opting in made it tough. But what if you only just made one addition all offseason? It was him.
It'd be better than anything they're doing.
Right.
Right.
And let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think of the Red Sox as being a legit suitor for him? Yes or no, entering the offseason? Just answer it.
I'm glad you brought it up. Yes.
Oh.
Want to know why? Because any team with any
I didn't think so, but they are.
So I know we're on the same page here.
I was trying to set myself up.
No, but here's the thing. You did. You didn't think the Red Sox, you set yourself up perfectly.
Thank you.
You didn't think the Red Sox would be in there, but they were because you change your plans and your budget when you have a once-in-a-generation type of free agent.
Yes.
And that's what Boston has done. Maybe they get
And they
him.
might sign him.
Maybe they get him, maybe they don't. But I bet you most of those Red Sox fans are at least happy they're giving it a shot. Whereas us, we're going, no thanks, I want Soto. What?
Right.
If I were Juan Soto, I'd go. If I were Boris, I'd say publicly, yeah, we were never coming to the Cubs anyway. Thanks for the interest. We're out on Juan Soto. Great.
That's the thing.
Sure he's losing sleep over that.
Oh, well, he's not going to leave. He's going to go to the Yankees or Mets. Well, what if he signs with the Red Sox? Argument destroyed.
If he signs with the Red Sox, I'll be devastated.
Wow.
Because that could have been us. That means it could have been us.
Exactly. I say we both walk off the show. Ready? 3. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do that.
And perhaps the Yankees will go hard after Bellinger.
I had my cheese head.
Coming up next, some news and notes to catch up on. Stay tuned.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with a FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Matt, I am so proud of the Illinois football program, Brett Bielema and company. Of course, they go 9-3 the first year. The Big Ten West is not a thing anymore. They would have been representing the Big Ten West in the Big Ten Championship this Saturday. But what an outstanding season. They overachieved. Most of these FanDuel lines every week. I mean, even the Northwestern spread closed at only 7.5. I mean, many people over in Vegas didn't think this was a very good football team all year, and they overachieved. They're probably going to be playing in the Citrus Bowl against an SEC opponent. They'll probably be about 20-point underdogs on a neutral field there in Florida. But 9-win seasons in Illinois football happen about once every 10 years, maybe even more than that, maybe once every 20. So happy for them. And Brett Bielema deserves a lot of credit for the job he's done this year with that football team. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Matt, never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League.
I'm going to run down all these news and notes, then we can react a little bit. Ben Brown has been cleared to begin his throwing program, according to The Athletic. Phil Bickford signed to a minor league deal after spending last year with the Yankees. He's a reliever. Also, another reliever in the fold, Brooks Kriske, signed to a minor league deal after spending last year with the Reds and Orioles. Kriske pitched in Japan in 2022 and 23. Assistant pitching coach Daniel Moskos was hired as the pitching coach by the Marlins. Casey Jacobson, who has been with the Cubs for 5 years, is now the assistant to pitching coach Tommy Hotovy. After the last 6 years as hitting coach for both the Brewers and Pirates, Andy Haynes is back with the Cubs as minor league hitting coordinator. Haynes was in the Cubs org in 16, 17, and 18. And finally, we're still waiting on who will be the first base coach for the Cubs, but that will likely be announced in the next week or so. And that's according to Sahad and Patrick over at The Athletic and Orside Territory. Sam, the biggest one for me there, unquestionably, is Ben Brown.
Ben Brown. Yeah, absolutely. This guy could be a game changer. He could be a game changer for this team.
He could be the Mason Miller of the 2025 season.
He's a game-changing guy. He's a game-changing arm. And first of all, I'm glad that he's healthy because that was a weird situation. I still don't know exactly what happened. So I'm glad that he's healthy. I'm glad that he's on his way. And if he is 100% healthy, he is a game changer. You throw him at the end of that bullpen with Porter Hodge, game changer. You want him to be a fifth starter because you still believe that he could do that, game changer. So that's good news. And I just want to comment on the Moskos thing. Moskos, I'm saying that right? Moskos.
Yeah,
right?
Moskos.
Who knows? I like that. That's a good sign. When people are getting hired from your pitching lab organization like that and getting promoted, that's a good sign. So I like that. That points things in the right direction a little bit. I'm in this sense with the Cubs, this position where I like a lot of the things they're doing. I just don't understand / accept just exactly what we talked about with Cap. I'm not going to rehash it, but the ancillary stuff, the marginal stuff. I like the Eli Morgan trade. I like that they're adding a bunch of relievers. I'm thrilled that Ben Brown's on his way, to being healthy. I like a lot of the things the Cubs have. That's why I'm so frustrated. If I thought this was like a 75-win team on paper, I would be like, who cares? Don't go after Juan Soto. He's not going to make the difference. Don't go after player X, Y, and Z. They're not going to make the difference. It's that right now I think this team is an 82, 83-win team on paper that will perform like an 84, 85, 86. You had a couple of guys here and there, and all of a sudden it's, mid-October, we're doing 3 shows a day.
Wow, yeah. Well, and with Brown, Sam, the A's announced last winter meetings that Mason Miller was going to move into the bullpen.
Yeah.
Pretty much only to keep his miles low after he was injured the year before.
Yeah.
And so I think something similar with not only Brown, but possibly Cade Horton being at the back end of the pen.
A great call.
I think those could be great stories.
It's a great call.
Miller was a force of nature with the A's. I think Brown and Horton, as in one inning sequences, could be forces of nature for this team.
It's a great call with Brown. I
think computers aren't accounting for that.
No. And I think Horton probably not yet. Maybe Horton would be something in season.
It'd be in the summer.
Yeah, in this like deep summer. Because
early fall.
We need to see him get healthy. And we need to see him throw the way he threw a couple years back.
Well, then have him start in Des Moines
as
a reliever.
Yeah. Or have him start in Des Moines as a starter and just say, hey, man, we're not even looking at you right now until the midsummer months. So whatever it is that you got to figure out, just figure out. Because I don't want to limit his ceiling or Brown's ceiling. Yeah. But like we've talked about, Burns and Woodruff, they started that way.
That's right.
So
yeah, Council's familiar with that path. This winter meeting starts next week. We're just going to go over that a little bit coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Whether it's a Cubs game, comedy show, or a concert, I love going to live events. And now Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. The experience of searching for and then buying tickets on Game Time is simple. Plus, Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it?
It's game time.
The winter meetings begin 1 week from today on the official MLB calendar. They're listed as December 9, 10, 11, and 12. And really, this is just a brief primer because, and really reminiscing, because we'll preview them more on this episode this time next week, and maybe there'll even be news by then. But 2022, Sam, the Cubs signed Cody Bellinger on Tuesday of the meetings. They at like early evening, then they signed Jamison Tyone just shortly before midnight on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and then Dansby Swanson signed a few days later on Saturday. It was such an. I was
furniture shopping.
Yeah, I was driving,
and we communicated. We turned right back home.
That's right, and I remember
our first real big show.
Yeah, it was, and that was our first winter meetings. And last year, 0. Literally no moves. And that wasn't just for the Cubs, by the way.
No,
but to go from 3 big signings in a matter of days to nothing, that was like, ooh, that was rough last year.
No, last year's winter meetings, like when I moved into my apartment and for a week I had no Wi-Fi.
Right.
I just sat and just stared.
So hopefully next week's active, but not for the sake of being active, but for making the Cubs a better club.
I forgot, by the way, speaking of Brandon Woodruff, don't forget, he'll be a Brewer. He'll be returned.
Yes, he will.
This year. So, they're already going to get better without having to do anything, assuming he's healthy and productive.
Although Adames is leaving.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But who knows, And
they might trade Devin Williams.
Doesn't matter at this point. I'm at the point with Milwaukee. I will until they are mathematically eliminated from the NL Central, I will believe that they have a really good chance to win this. They've traded Hader, they traded Burns, and they still won. Until they say
and their manager left.
And who's that again? When the Brewers are mathematically eliminated, I'll say that they're not going to make it.
Yeah. Well, and it's just a point of respect. I get it.
And fear.
Wow.
Because last year I was the guy saying there's no way this will last. These guys. And there's base hit. Churio steals 2.
Churio might be a star.
I don't know who's starting for the Brewers today, but he just went 6 1/3, 1 earned. And the Brewers are now 52-31.
They got off to a great start. Yeah, the projections had them in the 70s, but they smashed it right away.
I don't want that word. I'm tired of that.
You're tired of projections?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. And Sam.
Yep.
Comments have been added to Spotify. It's audio only still, but you could comment on there if you're an everydayer on Spotify. I'll start checking that
Me too.
every now and then.
I always check the comments.
We'll be back tomorrow. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Go Cubs.